Okay. All right. All right. Good afternoon, colleagues. Good afternoon. You know, that's the sad part about getting a graveyard session, because everyone is just dozing off. Or maybe you can't wait to go for shopping. And I know on Monday, I saw some people at Mainland, they're already starting with the shopping. And guess what? We're not complaining. We need to leave some rents behind just to boost our economy as well, right? I thought, Andrew was here because we bumped into him in Mainland on Monday. So I think we're just going to be quick so that you can go out and leave some rents for our economy, right? I think for this session, we're just going to be focusing on local government, right? And I want to link it back to our session on Monday by Afrobarometer, when he mentioned the fact that, you know, with the ordinary citizens or Wanjiko, I think Kenya will call them Wanjiko, I think what they are more interested in is the fact that whether they have access to water supply, whether they have infrastructure to get them going. And I think it links back exactly to what we are trying to do with the local government guidance in terms of making sure that the citizens, we try to address some of the issues that have been raised when it comes to service delivery. And I think there's been a big question to say, we're issuing these cleaning audit reports, right? But there isn't any correlation between our audit reports versus what's happening on the ground. And I think as the size, we still need to go back and ask ourselves to say, what is it that we can do to make sure that we are going beyond the financial numbers and we also focus on the service delivery issues. And with that, I just want the team to also play a video just to take us through the guideline that we've produced when it comes to local government.
Local government plays a huge role in delivering services to the citizens. As per the structure of any country, the local government tries to bring services closer to the people, as the national government cannot deliver all these services by itself. Government has the responsibility to make policies and laws about the rights and obligations of citizens and the delivery of government services. The government collects revenue income from taxes and uses this money to provide services and infrastructure that improve the lives of all the people in the country. Above all, the existence of local government is guaranteed in the national constitution that recognizes local governments as an autonomous sphere of governance endowed with legal powers, financial autonomy, and clearly defined roles and responsibilities. In this way, the decentralized governments and the nation-state both derive their legitimacy from the same founding document and fundamental law. As SAIs, we play a critical role in ensuring that reports on local government add value to the citizens, as service delivery is at the core. Guideline on auditing local government. The journey. 2 development workshops. Initially, the AFROSAI-E development team wanted to focus on providing guidance to audit local government through e-learning. However, based on the user's needs and the extent of needed guidance, the technical committee recommended the development of a comprehensive guideline to deal with all the topics. The development team includes experts from SAI Zimbabwe, SAI Uganda, and SAI South Africa. Technical Committee review in April 2023. In line with our quality assurance process, the draft guideline went to the Technical Committee for review in April 2023. Technical Committee meeting approves Guide for Exposure in September 2023. After further improvement, the guide was resubmitted to the committee in September, where it received the go-ahead for exposure. Exposure draft launched at the technical conference. This guideline covers general audit considerations for conducting service delivery audits within the local government. It also focuses on following specific areas in a local governance setup: water management service delivery, waste management service delivery, disaster management, infrastructure, financial health. We plan to roll out the guideline through regional workshops and encourage SAIs to start with pilot audits after that using the guidance.
All right. I think while we're digesting the video, I would like to call upon my favorite doctor, all the way from the Pearl of Africa, Uganda, Dr. Maxwell Okento. Dr. Maxwell?
Oh, thank you. Wonderful. Truly, Uganda is a part of Africa. Thank you very much. I want to begin. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
Thank you very much. I want to begin by appreciating the CEO, Bessie, and her team in AFROSAI-E for coming up with this guideline. And I like they are moving ahead of time. The time today, as I've had all these discussions, is about leaving no one behind. And citizens, you cannot leave them behind. How then can you not leave citizens behind? You can only keep them on board if you handle their interest. So service delivery is the way to go. I am very happy that we are looking at bringing citizens on board, capturing services that actually improve their welfare. I will approach this from I will only have 3 aspects to talk about because there's no time. You already, it is a known fact, and I don't need to emphasize the fact that services is the reason why we are here. Local government is the focus. Why? I don't see any location in any government that does not fall in local government of any type. It can be a city local government, a district local government, whatever. By the way, even states house are in specific local governments. So when you're talking about a local government, you're actually talking about every citizen. So this guideline is timely. But also, I want you to appreciate one fact, that this effort of coming into audit service delivery is actually taking audit where it belongs, because audit is about citizens. When you go to local government, you have taken it where it belongs. I want to give you a brief experience of how we went through this process. You know, I'm also a member of AFROSAI-E Technical Committee, who are responsible for, providing technical scrutiny on all these documents presented. I want to assure you that this guideline went through all the scrutiny that already you have been informed about and have been part of it. So you can count on us that what we are recommending to you is what has the technical direction you need to undertake audit in the local government area. But also, I want to emphasize the fact that it is the right thing for SI to actually utilize this guideline. Why? First of all, we are working for citizens. So when you capture the interests of citizens, you are actually delivering the service they need. And of course, you want to bring them on board. If you don't bring in my interest, don't call on me to say that participate in accountability process. So it is a call. This is attracting the citizens to participate in accountability process. And it has come so timely. I also want to say that you can use this tool better by doing one thing, ensuring that there is a feedback mechanism through which you can capture the interest of citizens. A sort of a platform. I know some other SAIs already have what they call citizens feedback platform. SAI Uganda is one of them. And this will help you to focus. You know, there are two aspects when you look at an audit: holding the people accountable, those who are involved, but also what is now the way forward. How then can we improve on the wrongs and ensure that what went wrong is not repeated? That is through implementing recommendations which are given to improve the services. So I would also say that if you prepare a good document and do not disseminate it to the users, then you shall have missed the point. Now that you are going to undertake audits that capture citizens' interest, it is the right time to disseminate this information to the specific citizens. Remember, we are talking about three main areas, but that is not exhaustive. We are talking of infrastructure, which means when you bring up the issue of infrastructure, then you need to disseminate this information so that the citizens concerned with this area, the civil society is concerned with this area, the relevant government agencies concerned with this area now takes interest. And in that way, I know audits, which has now gained the international focus, will now become even more relevant. Those SDGs we're talking about actually is linked to service delivery. So I stop by saying that I strongly recommend this tool for size, because it is what will make the ordinary down-to-earth person feel that the size are actually operating on our behalf, and therefore it will now give them the ground to, you know, demand more services, and finally the value addition that we are looking for can now be delivered. So thank you very much. I hope this gives you an idea of what we went through and how useful this tool can be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maxwell. As usual, you've given us your wisdom. I think I was talking to Richard and Andrew to say for this session, because it's more of a graveyard, and in terms of making sure that we also go through the rest of the products. So I would like the team to roll the poll on local government, and then we can take it from there. All right, okay. So we just want to find out for the current local government audits that you are conducting, which service delivery focus areas are you focusing on? I see infrastructure out there. Water management. Okay. All right. 30 seconds, Aneri. Okay. All right. I see infrastructure is on top of the list. right? Maybe anyone who wants to share with us what they are currently doing with regards to infrastructure when it comes to local government. Or waste management is number 2. Sai Zimbabwe?
In Zimbabwe, while auditing the financials, because the financials are linked to the budgets, as the financials are linked to the budgets, when we are auditing the financials, we'll be looking at the plans that has been implemented, that were planned, the programs that are tailor-made for addressing issues of growth in population, because some of the waste management systems are being overwhelmed by the growth in population. So be looking at whether a local government is being proactive as population grow, what are their plans in also ensure that the system is able to cope with the growth in population. And we have seen a number of initiatives being taken by some local authorities in trying to address those issues. Thank you.
All right. Thought I saw another hand. Is it? Oh, yes, Bakari. Sai Gambia?
Yeah, in Gambia, according to the Local Government Act, in the budget, 60% of the revenue should be plowed back to the citizens for development projects. So it's only 40% that should be spent on other activities. So as auditors, when we are auditing, we make sure that 60% of the budget is spent on development projects. We are always very concerned to make sure that at least they meet that criteria. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Tabato.
Okay. In Botswana, I'm just looking at the waste management part. We cover audits of what you call dumping sites, environmental issues like mainly it's dumping sites. It's twofold. We do collection. We do audit. The financials is collection of revenue. Then compliance is on the related regulations on how dumping sites are operated, on how those who are supposed to be using the dumping sites, following the regulations, those things that are supposed to be not put in the dumping sites like explosives, such things. So when we do that part, that's what we look at. Thank you.
All right. Because I'm looking at it at the time now, I think that's exactly what we are trying to focus on the local government guidance, to say, let's try as the sites to go beyond the financial numbers and also look at other service delivery focus areas. Because at the end of the day, the ordinary citizens are not concerned about what Diane was saying in the morning to say, how much is your materiality, but they are concerned whether they are receiving the services. And I think with that said, I would like us to move on to our next product, which is our extractive industries guideline, as well as the sector group. And with that, you remember that for extractive industries, we've done a revision on the previous guideline, which was our 2019 version. And part of the reasons why we did the revision was the fact that when we look at the extractive industries and we look at the size that we have, some of the sites are still emerging when it comes to that topic. And the feedback that we received was the fact that they needed more examples to be included on the version. And that's part of the reason why we wanted to also revise the new guideline. And with regards to the times, I would like to also hand over to Esther with regards to the sector group so that we can move on to the extractive guideline later, because we've got someone joining us from Uganda online, and Uganda is 1 hour ahead.
Thank you, Nikki. Good afternoon, everyone. And Tabat, so it's good morning in US and Canada, so it's okay. So good morning and good afternoon and good evening to whoever is other time zones. Thank you so much. So my name is Esther Thomas. I am seconded from SAI Norway to AFROSAI-E, and I'm working with capacity building in the audit of extractive industries. So I both work with the guideline, which I'm going to talk about later. But there's one exciting news on we've introduced a new product. But before we do that, Nikki, maybe since we are going to introduce a new product, I would rather say it's a dessert session, it's cherry on the cake, you know, rather than saying it's a graveyard session, because I think it's a new exciting product. Yes. So Extractive Industries Sector Group, it's a new initiative and we are piloting with a few sites. Let me just share a video with you first on what it is about. It doesn't have a voiceover. There's a lot of text, so I hope you can manage to read that. In case not, you've got that video also on your app. After the video, I will just say a few words on just the core of the sector group initiative. And then we will have Director Joseph Huria from Uganda, who is one of the pilots. Play the video, please. That was a short and sweet video. I hope you got time to read the material there, but I'll just summarize briefly. It's a new initiative on sector. So we are doing it on extractive sector, but it can be applied to any sector. The idea with this sector group is to enhance and build capacity in the extractive sector. As you know, extractive sector is one of the key sectors for revenue generation in the AFROSAI-E region. So you counted 17 out of 26 member countries have some sort of extractive revenues. So it's very important to build capacity in the extractive sector, and that's why is this initiative started. The idea is also that when we build capacity in the size that we can do ourselves redundant, that you are running on your own. That's the key with this thing. So, but for now we have to support in starting. So first it's piloting, and then we will adjust the concept according to the feedback from the pilots, and then later on launch for other sides who are interested as well. And after we are done with this session, in case you find it interesting, even though you're not invited for pilot, just take contact with us. So in this sector group, the idea is that you meet on regular basis at the SAI level, at least once a month. And then we are saying meeting shouldn't be too long because you don't want, but it should be effective. So maybe 2 or 3 hours is enough. Just a little time preparation before and little time after is can be physical or online meetings. So I have been in Uganda and we had both one meeting physical and one online. And this sector group shouldn't be too big, like there should be limited number of people. They can be from, they should be covering all the audit types. And they should produce background for risk assessment. But first and foremost, since it's a complex sector, you need to understand the sector. So you should be building the knowledge on what's happening in the sector, understand the sector, and then use that knowledge too in the risk assessment process, and also ultimately produce conduct audits and produce audit reports that are tabled, and hopefully, and they should also have an impact on the citizens. By that said, I hope I did summarize in case everything didn't come out clearly in the video. Now I would like to invite Director Joseph Hiria from SAI Uganda. Could we get him online, please?
Yes, Esther, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And good afternoon, all the colleagues there. Thank you so much for the work you're doing.
So I was, we can have this as a dialogue. So I would like to ask you a question on, you've had 3 meetings so far, I think, or maybe even more. And I thought it was a very fruitful meeting, the ones that I participated in. So, but I would like that you share with the audience, how do you think SAI Uganda will benefit by piloting EI sector monitoring groups? So,
thank you so much once again. And from the outset, I want to really say that the extractive industries gives the sub-Saharan region a very good opportunity to generate revenue. And we know very well that we are blessed with so much minerals, we have oil and gas, and therefore we need to have good governance of this sector in order to be able to benefit the citizens. So in that regard, we note also that because of the uniqueness of the extractive industry audits, you need a variety of skills. The conventional financial skills are not enough. And so you need skills in economics, you need skills in geology, skills in petroleum engineering, skills in IT, and so on. So bringing together this kind of skills enables SAIs to deliver high value audit reports. And so by having a monitoring initiative, what happens is that you are able to bring together all these various skills to monitor what is evolving within the industry. And what we are seeing is that because of the nature of that industry, along the whole value chain, right from exploration to licensing to revenue management, revenue allocation, you find that they're evolving and emerging risks stakeholder needs are changing and increasing. You find that there's more technologies, new technologies coming on board. You have even the new aspect of energy transition. So this initiative of monitoring enables us to be able to be up to date with what is evolving, what's emerging within the industry, using the various types of skills that we have in the size. And so I think this is going to be a very, very important platform. And so we are glad to be a pilot. We're going to experiment and see how we can put together the skills and the knowledge which we can use in addressing the risks that are ever emerging.
Thank you so much. And just if you could also mention how you're going to, how you have organized this sector group. Just a little bit on this.
Thank you. So what we've done, first of all, is to identify the types of audits that we undertake. And these include the financial audits, we have the performance audits, we have IT audits, we have forensics, we have compliance. So what we have done is to identify representatives from each type of audit, about 2 staff from each of those types of audits. And then we created an in-house secretariat headed by a senior auditor and also with a deputy. So what this secretariat headed by this senior auditor is supposed to do is to make sure we have a platform. We have created a website, a web page for all the members of that group. And so this secretariat is able to coordinate meetings and keep minutes, keep track of all the decisions that we undertake, and also keep record of all the researches that have come on board from the various types of audits. That enables us then to keep track of what's emerging and even to be able to determine what type of audit is appropriate for whichever area of interest.
Thank you so much. You reminded me, maybe I didn't highlight that it's a sector monitoring group, since you are monitoring the sector, and you start from there because there is a lot of happening in the sector and we want to update, continuous update on the sector. We also note a concept note that we sent together with the invitation to the size. I don't know if Edmund, you would like to share something on we wrote the concept note together. If you have any comments on the launch of the sector group, just your thoughts. I'll also invite others if you have any questions or comments while you're thinking. So this is in a nutshell. I hope you got an idea what it is about, and you can actually also copy this to any other sector if it's health or education. So the concept is not unique for the extractive sector, but this is one of the major sectors, so that's why we are doing this. Any questions, comments? How do you, from AG there?
Thank you, Esther. Thank you, our colleague from Uganda. Actually, the whole purpose of our auditing is to improve the lives of the citizens at the end of the day. By the same token, when we talk about the extractive industries audit, I think our colleague has properly mentioned that we require diverse skills to audit the various types of the industries. Well, our task is to audit the various industry sectors like mining, the energy. So anyway, diverse aspects of the extractive industries. But there is one basic question which could be beyond our scope. Yeah. Specifically in Africa, we have got so many resources, natural resources. Well, those can be seen in the financial statements at the end of the day. How much of the proceeds are going to the government? And finally, the proceeds could be used for the improvement of the lives of the citizens. For instance, starting from the contractual agreement between the various mining companies or whatever. What is the share of the government? How much that the government take in terms of reality in taxes? So those are the basic questions in my view. Maybe they could be far-fetched for us. They could be beyond our scope. But what comes to my mind as a question is, how is the extractive industry results improving the lives of our citizens in Africa? Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. So those issues are covered in the guidelines, which we will come back to later, but also can be discussed in the sector group. And you are quite right, revenue and revenue collection, that's one of the key issues. It's in the value chain of the guideline. And the mandate and the scope, if you remember that we had in the video showing that it should start with the size mandate and reporting requirements. And whatever the SAI has a mandate, you cannot go beyond your mandate. But always you have these ministries and agencies who have some sort of, either they're involved in the legislation or in monitoring, in compliance aspect, governance aspect. So there are many areas still where the size can make impact, but just raising the right questions. So, but you are right, there might be some scope or mandate issues. That's why we say start with your mandate requirements, and from there you will have to organize. So this sector group might not be relevant for each and every SAI either, but like Uganda is embarked on the oil adventure, so I think it's quite relevant for Uganda. So I don't know, maybe Director Joseph Iria has a comment on this coming from AG Eritrea.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, AG Eritrea. And that question is a very, very important question because research has indicated that actually for extractive industries in sub-Saharan Africa, the countries are only benefiting between 1 to 10% of the revenue. And these are the questions that we need to address also partly as the SAI offices. Because how then do we help governments and even our countries to ensure that we have more revenue coming into our countries or staying within the countries? And so it depends all on the mandate that the SAI has. In the case of SAI Uganda, if I may just share a short experience, the legislative framework, the legal regime is very, very suitable for audit for the SAI. The SAI has quite a bit of power and mandate in terms of tracing the revenues. We audit the revenue authority, which is the major body that collects taxes, and it implements the government laws regarding collection of revenue in respect of extractive industries. For example, they have a complete department called Natural Resources Unit that is supposed to collect revenues or to account for revenues in respect of extractive industries. We also have what they call Petroleum Fund. This Petroleum Fund is responsible for collecting any revenues that are associated with oil exploration and oil production. So because these are government agencies, we are then mandated to audit all the government agencies. The Revenue Authority, the Petroleum Fund leadership, the ministry responsible for energy and minerals, these are all government agencies. So, and because we are mandated to audit, we look beyond just the financial balances and go back to look at the underlying records and underlying regulations which these agencies ought to be complying with. In the same manner, we have what is called a Petroleum Authority. This is an agency that supervises or that regulates activities within the petroleum say subsector. And because it's also a government agency, the Auditor General is mandated under the Constitution to audit any resources, revenues, and expenditures that are under the care of these agencies. And lastly, just to talk about the fiscal regime under which our country operates in respect of oil, it's called the production sharing agreements. These are in some jurisdictions they are called production sharing contracts, and in those contracts they are very, very specific of how the sharing of the revenue will be after the investors have recovered their costs. And so within our country, we are mandated to again audit those cost recovery statements. And so we are in position to disallow costs that are not necessary, costs that are not economical, costs that are not appropriate. So just like Esther has mentioned, that depending on the regime and the SAI mandate, we can be able to make a major contribution as a SAIs. I thank you.
Thank you so much. I think we'll just close the sector group at this note. So we'll over to Extractive Industries Guideline to Nikki.
All right, thank you so much, Esther. As I mentioned that we had to connect with the Uganda online people because they are way ahead of us. So we're just going to go back to the Extractive Guideline, and I would like the team to start with the video, and then we'll have experiences from SAI Gambia. I think I wouldn't do justice if I do not acknowledge the SAIs that contributed immensely on the guideline. And I think it was SAI Uganda that is represented here, SAI Malawi, Zambia, Kenya, what's the fifth one?
Ghana.
Ghana. And if you remember in our last year's technical update, we had endorsed the previous version, which is the 2019. And after that, then we started with the pilot audits. And with regards to the pilot audits, we had SAI Gambia piloting it and SAI Malawi as well, Ghana. So with regards to that, I would also like to call upon SAI Gambia just to share with us their experience in terms of the piloting of the new guideline. Bakari. Doesn't allow.
Introduction of the AI workshop. Gambia immediately in 2020, because as Esther has rightly mentioned, it's a new area and it needs a lot of information gathering before you can proceed with the audit. Our performance audit team in 2020 met all the relevant authorities, because when you come to the extractive industry, the stakeholders are large. The Minister of Justice, because the laws need to be formulated. Even there is a department, geology department, that is responsible for the monitoring. The Minister of Finance, because they are responsible for the finance. The Revenue Authority, because they need to pay tax. So they meet all these stakeholders in 2020 just to have an idea about the whole sector. Then in 2021, they work on the matrix and then working with the AFROSAI-E, but not much because of the COVID. They were not able to do, but they were still working with AFROSAI-E, sending reports, and they were reviewing it, and then, yeah. So 2022, we had a meeting in January 2022, meeting with 2023, meeting with all the stakeholders in this mining EI sector. And including this was both the public sector and the private sector, and including the CSOs. Because this is, in Gambia, we are into two, that's the petroleum, oil and gas, but that is very new. It's just at the exploration stage. But the main activity there is the mining, sand mining and gravel mining, and then it's creating a lot of even conflicts. Because most of the local areas where this mining taking place, the inhabitants there think that they are just tampering with their land and the environment that should be used for farming and other activities. But this mining is taking place there, and then they are not seeing the benefit. They feel that they are not seeing the benefit. So that being the reason we invited the CSO, these are the civil society organizations, and then some of the institutions responsible for this mining, so that at least we can have a better understanding, the impact, and then we can also get feedback from them as well. That was in January, and then Nikki and Esther were there in the workshop, and then the feedback we get from them will help us to do our risk assessment. And then just recently, also last month, we had another meeting, just to make sure that we compile all those risk assessment, and then to help us in coming up with an audit topic. After the workshop, I think at the 4th day of the workshop, also we don't only limit ourselves to the hotel conference room, the four corners of the meeting room, but we all became, I don't know, miners or whatever. I wish they can show that pictures. We went for a site visit. There is this mining taking place around the entrance of the city, the capital of the Gambia, and then we went there, have that physical interaction with the owners, those who are conducting the mining, to get the primary sources, how they are doing the mining, and then the impact. And then we went to another area, also 2 different areas, just to have that first-hand information, the impact it is having on the environment, and then again, what are some of the remedial actions, and again ask them about the benefit, just like the AG has asked. What benefit, the revenue that government is benefiting from this, the fund that they are generating, the amount that is going back to the government. And then again, if government receive this amount, how are they still utilizing it? Are the people, the poor people benefiting, and how are they benefiting? These are some of the things that we've discussed. And then at this moment, Gambia, we are about to finalize the audit topic. And then the topics that are under consideration are the monitoring of these miners, how are they mining them, monitoring them, and then again, the allocation of the revenue generated, that is paid back to the government, how are government going to utilize it. That is the area. And then we have the sector group also that has been finalized and approved by the Auditor General. And this sector group consists of managers, even management. I am part of the sector group, and then Director Jallo also is part of the sector group. And then we have financial auditors and performance auditors in the sector group. That is the stage we are as far as Gambia is concerned. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Bakari, for sharing that experience. And I think when it comes to extractive industries, we always advocate for in-country risk assessment, because that's where we get the platform to get all these ministries coming together in one roof to say what could be your role when it comes to extractive industries. And I think based on our experience, what we picked up is the fact that all these ministries are working in silos, but the minute you get them together, they get to talk to each other so that you are able to also understand the environment when it comes to extractive industries. I know the time is against us. I just want to wrap up and just to say in summary, like we did with the 2019 version, what you're going to do going forward in 2024, we're going to translate this version to French as well as Portuguese and Arabic. And we're also going to have the e-learning. The document will also have the e-learning, so we'll also have that as well. And just to say, in terms of encouraging the other sides to make sure that you also pilot the guideline as well, so that even next year when we come to the technical update, we are able to share these experiences. And I know SAI Namibia is also planning to do an audit. So it would be nice if we come next year, we'll also have the sharing of experiences when it comes to extractive industries.
Nikki, maybe I just jump in. I was thinking even you can share the experience at the annual workshop for extractive industries that is happening in the middle of the year, usually in June or July. So that's the platform where the SAIs share their experiences. So maybe also try to join that one and share experiences before you're coming to the next year's technical conference.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, EI Group and Sector Group. Can we give them a round of applause again, please, as they leave?
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. We've come to the part where I hand over the microphone to the owner of AFROSAI-E. Ladies and gentlemen, the CEO.
Shy man. That's new, owner of AFROSAI-E. Yeah, we learn all the time. I know you're tired, especially the people online, but thank you so much for being here. I think after last night, without divulging a lot to those online, we had fun, and it just shows because you really look and sound extremely tired, and I hope you've had real fun in the week. I hope you have some important takeaways, and most of all, I hope you really had fun last night. And when you take stock of what you came here for, I really hope that you will have positive reflections in terms of why you are here. I also want to, something that I didn't mention in the beginning, that in the midst of us here, we have the vice chair of the AFROSAI-E governing board. I did mention that he was here on Tuesday when we started, but I didn't inform you that he is the vice chair of the AFROSAI-E governing board. And this is important information. And I hope that the people that are online are still online because they need to know. I know that some of the people that attend these international events, when they get back home to their sites, there isn't really a platform to share with the whole office what is happening so that they know what is happening in the international community. But because of the people attending online, this is an opportunity for us to share all this information that they are not aware of. So it is important for me to mention that AG Gere is the chair of the AFROSAI-E governing board. And thanks a lot, AG Gere, for being here with us and staying with us, and for the questions that you have asked, to make it a point for people to know that AGs are interested in these things, and AGs do want their size to grow and be impactful. And that's what you are driving, and that's why you are here. Thank you so much. I want to also remind staff from SAIS that I did say, and you've heard it, I heard it this morning as well from Jan, that we have a serious promise to the citizens that through our work, we will improve their lives accordingly. And I did mention that by joining a Supreme Audit institution, you did it intentionally, deliberately, I hope, at least. And that promise then sticks with you. We have what we call in AFROSAI-E, or what they call themselves, not what we call, they call themselves, the Youth League. And obviously I'm disqualified from the Youth League, even though it doesn't matter how I present myself, I'm always disqualified to be around the Youth League. And they always say, terms and conditions apply. So you are part of a Supreme Audit institution to do all of these things to make a difference in the lives of the citizens. Terms and conditions apply. So if on a daily basis, you go home and you make a reflection on whether what you have done on that day contributed in one way or another to making that difference in the lives of the ordinary people, then you need to revisit why you are there. So I would like to challenge each one of us to make that reflection on a daily basis, whether whatever you did for the day contributed to why you have joined a Supreme Audit institution that you work for. Now, we had limited in-person participation. It worked very well, and thank you very much. And we will do our best in next year in 2024. Where's Wynand? Must I make the promise that we will make it bigger, Wynand? Is that a fair promise? It is. Ah, okay. We definitely will make it bigger so that we can have more interactions and networking. So we do promise that next year we will make it bigger. And I want to thank specifically our colleagues from Canada for making the SDGs so wonderful and beautiful. And I think it was really beautiful for when you made us choose the one that is closer to our hearts, and it makes you realize. And I saw people, juggling around the cards and choosing which one is really close to their hearts, and some judgment calls there. So yeah, I greatly appreciate it. And on the climate issues as well, thank you very much for bringing that to our attention. There were a number of topics, honestly, that really touched me quite closely, and I know that there are a number of them that touched you as well, but I don't want to go through any of them because it would seem like I'm putting others above, and there isn't. They're all very, very important. But what we need to realize is that in the size, we have limited capacity. And it is important that we improve the capacity and capability, but with that limited capacity, what do we do to be relevant and to be impactful so that the citizens can feel us and know us? and how do we work with them so they can feel us and know that we are doing all of this to help them to get the services that they really need in our country. So thanks for your participation. I challenged you to participate and to contribute, and you did exactly that. You challenged those that spoke, and I truly, truly appreciate it. Save Jenny back, and those that are online, thank you for your participation as well. What we have resolved is that we will alternate, well, we'll always have hybrid participation, but in terms of the bigger and smaller groups, we will alternate, just to, make sure that we use these digital platforms extensively. So thank you very much, and thanks for staying with us. There was never a time when the room was empty, which means all these topics are very important to us, and I appreciate that. Thanks a lot, and safe journey back home. And those that are online, well, safe journey back to your desks. Thank you so much.